I know this has happened to you at some point in your life. You're sitting in a room, whether it be at home or at work, and you're like, the Wi-Fi here is terrible. So what do? You go to Google and you type in free Wi-Fi scanner, because that sounds good. And at the top of the list, it's always at the top of the list for like decades, is NetSpot. So you click on NetSpot, you download it, and it fills your screen with all kinds of information. You're like, I have no idea what to do with this. And so what I thought I would do is take you to the front room of my house. Now, the audio isn't going to be as good. It's kind of echoey in there. It doesn't have all the sound stuff like this room does. But that's fine, because I just want to show you how to use a tool like NetSpot to figure out what the problem is and what you can do to fix it. Welcome to the front room of my house. It's one of those rooms that when you're touring a house, like if you're looking to buy one, you're like, oh, this will be so wonderful. Our family will eat here and all that. But nobody actually uses this room. It's like once or twice a year we do for like a special occasion because it's separated from the rest of the house. So I'm slowly but surely, don't tell my wife, converting it to an office by moving kind of piece by piece of my stuff up here. It's like boiling a frog in a pot of hot water, right? You just kind of slowly turn up the heat and eventually we'll be like, oh, look, it's an office. And we didn't even know it, right? But the problem is the Wi-Fi in this room is brutally slow. So take a look at the laptop. What I've done is I've set a little constant ping going on, which honestly right now looks great. It normally isn't that great. But I'm going to open up NetSpot and get a perspective on this room. And this is what I'm talking about. When people open a tool like this, they will often look at it and go, oh, okay, so now what? So first off, a couple key pieces of information. You'll want to know that the networks that I have at this house are C-Home, that's Chara Home, and C-IoT, that's Internet of Things. Now you can see there's some other networks popping up here. I'm guessing those are my neighbors that are sending a signal over. So what I was saying before is you'll often open a screen like this and you kind of stare at it and you're like, what do I do? First thing that you want to look at is go, okay, well, what network am I using, right? If you look in the upper corner right here, I can see this is on an Apple laptop, right? I can see I'm connected to C Home, but I mean, what frequency am I using? There's really three frequencies right now that are in action. You've got 2.4 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz, and 6 gigahertz, right? The higher frequencies give you more bandwidth and less interference, right? Because there's more frequency available up there, but less range, which actually works out better overall. But I'll get to that in a minute, right? So as I'm looking right here, I'm like, how do I know which frequency I'm using? Well, on a Mac, it's kind of handy. You can actually, on your keyboard, hold down the Option key and click that little Wi-Fi signal, and look at that. I can immediately see, I'm using down here the 5 gigahertz frequency. It's channel 161, right? So I can go, okay, great. Now I know what I'm on. And I'm looking right here and I'm seeing the signals that are green are all in the 2.4 space. Okay. Point number one that we can gather just by looking at this NetSpot. Seems like we get a decent signal using 2.4. And I'll tell you about the strengths in just a minute, but I'm not using that. Why? Network cards play a big role in this, right? Apple manufactured this laptop. They wrote the drivers for their network cards. They're the ones that tell this laptop when to join 5, when to join 6, when to join 2.4, right? They dictate it. So we may have a glorious network signal, but our laptop, in my case, you can see is choosing not to use it. It's going for the 5 gigahertz, which is down here. So, okay, now freeze for a minute. Can I force that? Can I fix it? Not easily. Not easily. A lot of times, like if you're using an Apple laptop, it's just like, hey, look, I pick that for you. Gotta love Apple, right? It's great, but they're like, no, you will sit in that chair and you will not go outside the bounds because we will define your experience. It's an experience and you'll like it, right? So you can't really choose what you're using. But now as I'm looking here, notice that everything's kind of bouncing around a little bit. I'm seeing some green networks show up and it looks like I'm getting like DirecTV or something like that. But okay, let's look at the signal strengths. What does this mean as I'm looking down this? Signal strength, the closer you are to 0, the better, right? It's always going to be a negative number. We want to be closer to 0 because that indicates stronger signal. So realistically, what am I getting? Well, if you've got like between a negative 30 and a negative 50, you're golden, right? That's a phenomenal signal. If you're like -30, I mean, you're standing on the moon on top of a wireless access point. Like that just doesn't happen. You might see some 30s if you're right next to a wireless access point, but normally you're probably going to see things closer to -40, -50, -60. So as you move to that -50 to 60 range, now you're kind of like, it's pretty good, right? -60 and beyond, you're starting to fight it. And if you look right here in this room, it's like, okay, I've got some up here, but these aren't even my networks, right? My networks, if they are going to show up in the good, they're going to be at that 2.4 band, right? Which I'm not even using right now, and that one's good. But when I move down to the 5 gigahertz, I notice that I'm already dropping down to this negative space. Okay. What else can I see here? Okay, well, if you take a look at the top of this, if I click this little signal strength and noise, initially this is just a mess, right? You're not going to want to even look at this, but it's showing like, hey, here's the signal from the wireless network that you're using. Look in the upper left though. This allows you to filter it down based on the frequency. So if I just want to see 5 gigahertz, which is what I'm looking at now, whoa, hang on. Look at this. What I'm seeing here is I'm seeing all the networks stacked on top of each other. Look at that. So hang on, what do I mean by this? I mean that just by looking at NetSpot right here, I'm seeing that I've got multiple networks, multiple access points. Because if you look over here on the left-hand side, you can tell what access point it is because it's going to have, I'll say, a similar MAC address, right? Every single one of these wireless networks identifies itself. You see the little MAC address below. Notice that this ends at 183.169, 183.169, right? So I go, okay, that's the same access point. You notice the front of that, though, right? It's a little bit different. I also notice this signal's bouncing around a little bit. What could cause that? Well, I mean, we're in the air. There's no guarantee. There's all kinds of things that can be absorbing the signal. Like, I'll put some B-roll in here, but you'll see over there, I've got the door closed. I've noticed when I have the door open, right, and I'm listening to the family doing their thing out there, I get a better wireless signal. Why? It's obvious. There's no door in the way, right? So those kind of things can impact it. But when it comes to wireless channels, the wireless access point should pick one that is not being used, right? It should, as it boots up, be like, oh, it looks like somebody else is using 161. I won't use that one. But in this case, it looks like, now just from a cursory glance using this, it looks like it's like, no, I'm going to share that, right? The other thing worth mentioning, notice right here, I've got one and only one 6 gigahertz wireless access point. It's actually sitting in the other room behind my television, right? Why do I only have one? Because money, right? Because this house actually has 7 wireless access points. I know. Just don't ask, right? 7 wireless access points, but only one has 6 gigahertz. Okay, there's another problem. Now, I'm getting all this literally from just opening NetSpot and going, okay, what do I see here? Notice my 6 gigahertz. I see now. Oh, okay. Hang on. Much to say. The 6 gigahertz, if I put a filter, let's put a filter on it. Filter, I'm going to go to the band, I'm going to go to 6 gigahertz, and boom, it's filtered it down. There we go. Notice this gem is sitting here at a signal strength currently of -72 with an average of -77. That's junk. That's a junk signal. But the challenge is, if you combine that with the drivers of this Apple, right? Apple's like, oh, latest and greatest, we like that. You're going to go to 6 gigahertz. That's one of the reasons that I start seeing my signal drop is it might get a good 6 gigahertz signal for a few seconds. It's like, we're going that way. Boom, I'm over there. My performance immediately degrades because that signal, very great signal, clean signal, but very short range on that. And I'm nowhere close to, well, I'm in the general vicinity, but that television is blocking most of that 6 gigahertz. So I'm always action oriented. Like, what action do you take here? Turn off 6 gigahertz. I should, like, as I'm looking at this data from NetSpot, I should immediately be like, I'm logging into Ubiquiti's controller for this, and I'm turning off the 6 gigahertz signal until I can get more access points that use that, because my little Apple device here is always going to prefer that, and it's going to get a crummy signal when I'm starting to move outside the range of that one little access point, which I move around all the time, right? Okay, but before I leave this screen, because I've got the filter on there right now, I know some of you are looking and they're like, what on earth is this? Well, keep in mind wireless access points. Now, first off, just look at the MAC address. It's similar the whole way down. So it's going to be coming from the same wireless access point. They'll often send out beacons, advertisements like, hey, I'm a wireless network over here. Those often will show up as hidden SSID. So in a way, you can look at these and be like, okay, that's a thing. But worth mentioning, the reason I'm mentioning this here is the more things you have broadcasting signals on that, the worse it's a shared airspace, right? So a lot of times, let me turn this filter off, right? So I can see everything. I see things like, oh, it just disappeared. But I don't know what this is. Orbi 83. It's probably some little widget that one of my kids bought, or who knows? It could be, I don't know what, I think of Orbis. Aren't those the little beads thing? I know it's not those, but it could be some, like every one of these. Oh, hang on, right there. Tesla. I've got a Tesla Powerwall in the other, in the garage, right? That thing is broadcasting a signal on 2.4 gigahertz, right? So that's sending out regular signals, regular updates. I would do well to turn that off, because as you're looking at the 2.4 gigahertz space, which by the way, most people shouldn't be using nowadays because it's overcrowded, very thin bandwidth. But sometimes if you're in a long range situation, that thing's got the best range, and that may be the only signal that you can get. So it behooves us to go in, find these devices, again, walk around using your little NetSpot app and be like, oh, my signal is getting stronger. Now I just happen to know where that is. It's in the garage, a couple walls down from here, right? I've also, it looks like there's a DirecTV. I'm guessing that's my neighbor because I don't have DirecTV. So I can only go so far, or can I? So I mentioned at the beginning of this, like, what do I take away from this? I mean, I know I've been talking really fast because I'm like, so much stuff I can get out of just this initial screen. What I take away from this is, one, I'm in a room where I'm not getting a good signal when it comes to the 5 gigahertz. 6 gigahertz isn't even showing up. It's probably somewhere way down in the list, right? So there we go. 6 gigahertz. It's a crummy signal. I've got a good 2.4 signal, but my Apple laptop's never going to use that thing because, again, I'm going to hold down the option. It's pre-configured via the driver to use this 5 gigahertz. And I want to make sure a learning point you take away from this is it matters what kind of devices you buy. I know those Chromebooks are $100 a piece and you're like, look, that'll be great. Well, a lot of times they're equipped with just terrible network cards. And so you may have the most glorious wireless network in the world, but because of the network card, you're now fighting that. So it matters what laptops you buy. It matters what signals you activate with your devices. So where was I? I was summing up. I'm going to do this, right? I see that I'm getting 2.4 because of my driver. I'm not going to use it. 5 gigahertz is crummy. I would probably say I need to locate a wireless access point in here, run a cable, or use a wireless mesh kind of thing to repeat the signal. But there's a price to pay for that. I'll mention that in a future video. I may even look here as I'm looking at the spectrum, right, and go, okay, I need to go into my Ubiquiti controller and hard code some of these. These are little older WAPs that don't auto inspect and change based on what it's seeing on the spectrum, right? Some of the newer Ubiquiti WAPs, along with Meraki WAPs and everything else, it's not a Ubiquiti commercial. I mean, a lot of WAPs do this nowadays. Will actually scan the spectrum. They've got a dedicated radio to scan what's going on. And at a certain time of day, it'll change channels to find a cleaner one, right? In this case, my guess is the system rebooted. It's all using auto channel, and 2 apps ended up choosing the same 5 gigahertz channel. So I've got a whole bunch of things overlapping on this thing that I need to go and separate those channels, because 2 wireless access points sharing the same channel is like people talking over each other on the telephone call. Now, if you want to get methodical about it, you can go in the upper right corner of NetSpot and you can actually choose a filter and say, well, show me the things that are using channel. Let's just drop down to 161, right? And immediately it goes shoop and filters it down. And I can see right there, these are the MAC addresses of the 2 WAPs that are ending up sharing the same channel, right? Now, it seems like they're a little further apart from each other. You can see the signal strength, but they're still going to interfere with you. They can hear each other, right? So I need to go into the Ubiquiti controller, and that's where I'll be able to see the MAC address of these WAPs, and I've got plenty of channels in the 5 gigahertz space, right? I'm going to separate these things as far as the east is from the west, right? So that they do not compete for the same signal. Okay, last but not least, and I know I keep saying that, but I know some of you are going to download NetSpot and play around with it, which I encourage you to do. Go to the settings and make sure your Wi-Fi scanning interval is set to once every 10 seconds, right? You probably have noticed that on the screen, these wireless networks update and they go shoop. That's why. If you set it 30 or a minute, you may save your battery on your laptop, but at the same time, you're just going to be sitting there waiting to get those frequency updates, right? So next step I would take with this, as well as I'm looking at the top of this, it also supports a survey mode where I can do a wireless survey and walk around with the floor plan of my house. That would be an interesting thing to try next. But for now, I hope at least the inspector part of this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.